Or in the chat, we can get back to our conversation. Some people, when I talk to them, they're like, dude, are you recording this? So in your case, no, I'm not recording. I'm just live streaming. Okay. So we've got Joshua Martinez on the phone here. I just found out, 30 minutes ago that Josh was in jail in Las Vegas. And you just got out of jail, is that right, Josh?
Yeah, probably about an hour ago.
Okay. All right, so go on, man. What happened? You said you were, so they brought you into the jail and for trespassing somewhere. Is that right? You were arrested for trespassing?
I was, arrested for trespassing. Well, they called it trespass at the Southern Nevada Health District over on 280 South Decatur here in Las Vegas. I was doing a First Amendment audit along with the Pitbull Las Vegas Cop Watch.
Can you get closer to your phone? Can you get your mouth closer to your phone?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you way better now.
Oh, okay. So, I was at the Southern Nevada Health District on 280 South Decatur, I believe, South Decatur, with Pitbull Las Vegas Cop Watch. We did an audit right away. Obviously, they were upset because I wasn't wearing a mask and that I was recording. Pitbull was okay to enter. He had a mask on. They allowed him in. But eventually, they called police and they had us both trespassed. They brought a security guard outside to read me trespass card and formally trespassed me. And they uncuffed me. I grabbed my phone, my camera, turned it back on, and I said, so I'm being trespassed from a public building. They said, yes, you're now officially trespassed. I said, well, since we're in the parking lot, I'm going to stay, and I'm not moving. He goes, the sergeant says, well, this is also part of their property, so you're also trespassed from here. I said, that's fine, but I'm still not going, so if you want to arrest me, that's fine. This is for the Constitution. Like I said, this is for the First Amendment. I'll be more than willing to stand up for it. So he handcuffs me, says, fine, you're under arrest for trespassing. I didn't give my ID because I believe I was still not breaking any laws. They put me to booking, Las Vegas City Jail. And as I'm being booked, the nurse tries to force a mask over me. She puts a mask on me, and I'm still in handcuffs. I get to the desk, they uncuff me, I pull the mask off, and I throw it on the floor. They say, we're not playing your games, you better put it back on. I said, no, I'm not going to participate in your lie. The lie has now consumed the globe. I'm not going to allow it to enter and take over through me. Your lie is not coming in through me. I'm not putting on your mask. So they throw me in a cell.
Hey,
pull me back out.
Can I ask you one question right here? When I was in the Pima County Jail, they were giving us used masks that actually had stains on them. Is the mask that they forced onto your face used, or is this a brand new mask?
This looks brand new.
Okay.
Looks brand new out of the bag.
Okay.
So I threw it on the floor. When I told the officer, the CO, look, this is a lie. That thing on the floor is not going to work. He says, I agree, but it's our policy. And I said, policy is not law, nor is a governor's mandate or a governor's order is not law. They got mad and, they started talking smack. And, I told them it's for a religious exemption. I said, I'm not going to put faith in a piece of cloth. I have faith in God. If God wants me to go, then I'll go. If he wants me to be sick, then I'll be sick. Let me deal with it. You all have masks on. You're all behind glass. You're safe. They said, we're not playing it. Fine. You're not going to ID. You're not going to wear a mask. We're just going to delay your process and throw you in the solitary. Little did they know, I spent 5 months in solitary confinement. It's not going to bother me now.
So I was just talking last night about your experience in solitary confinement and how you've spoken to me about it one-on-one, and I wish I had recorded it.
We can do that on another one if you want. I'm more than willing to talk about my experience. But, they put me in, as we were standing in front of the computer and medical staff, one officer, in a condescending way, even though he had a mask on, he looks at the other one and says, hey, put him in 232. Automatically, I already know something's wrong with that cell. It's either packed with disgusting people and it's just overpacked, and then they purposely do that, or something else. Something is wrong with that cell. I get in there, they walk me to it. First thing I smell is just urine. I walk in, I feel something wet. I look down, there's a puddle. 2, maybe 3 huge different puddles around the cell. I already knew what it was. I take off my shoe, the slipper they gave me, and I looked at my. I sat down in the driest area that I can find, the driest corner I can find in the cell. I smelled I didn't even get close to it. As soon as I was bringing my pant leg up to see what it was, I already knew it was urine. So I knew it wasn't sanitized.
So wait a second. They tried to force you to put a covering over your face for sanitary and health reasons, and then when you told them you're not going to participate in the cultish behavior, they put you in a room full of urine?
That's exactly where I was getting to. I told the staff member to come back, and I told them exactly that. I said, it's a little hypocritical for you guys to claim that this mask, the mask that you guys wanted me to put on, is for my safety and health when you guys leave this room in this condition, and it was intentionally because you all have other rooms, other cells open, or you can put me in a bigger cell, come have the porters clean it, because the porters were out cleaning. You could have put me in there, and then you could have put me somewhere else and cleaned it and sanitized it and then put me in. But this is for punishment because you guys don't like my tone. You guys don't like what I'm saying, and I'm speaking truth. I said, that's fine. I said, come have somebody clean this, or I'm just going to sit down. So the next shift comes in. Fast forward. Next shift comes in after all my pleas for them to come in are ignored. The other staff comes in, and then they finally get a porter to clean it. It didn't help any. It just spread it all over the room. But then there was no puddle.
Let me tell you, in their defense, though, urine is sterile, so you're fine, buddy. No big deal.
Well, yeah. I just don't like the salty flavor. But anyway. As you know, after that, I tell the COs, and at this point, I'm still under John Doe in booking, but everyone is calling me by first and last name. The nurse comes up, she says, why don't you want to put Mr. Martinez? Why don't you want to do this? Blah blah blah. And I'm wondering, why isn't anyone calling? Like, what's going on? So I asked one of the COs, like, am I still under John Doe? He goes, no, you're already in the system. I was like, cool, at least my family and friends can know where I'm at and know that I'm here. Well, no, turns out that was a lie. I didn't get booked in as my real name until 24 hours later. But anyways, different staff members are trying to get me to comply. They're like, look, we know it's cold in there. We know it's uncomfortable. We can give you a blanket. All you have to do is just go speak to the nurse, get your medical screening, wear a mask, and we'll get you everything you want, man. We'll get you a nice hot meal. You'll be fine. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to participate in your lie. So they kept trying their best. Eventually, they gave up on the fingerprinting part. So they brought the fingerprint. They had to find the old school ink pad with the fingerprint sheet. So they found that. They bring it to my cell. They have me put my hands through the feeding slot, and they take my fingerprints. One CO even says, "Man, I haven't seen that for about 15, 20 years, man. I haven't seen that in a long time." He's a sergeant. He's been on the force or in that agency for a long time. Now they use the electronic. I'm sure everyone who's been in jail knows that they use the electronic device with that pedal, and they take your fingerprints that way electronically. Well, they couldn't take me out because I didn't want to wear a mask. So they take my booking photo with a camera phone, and they take my fingerprints, but still no medical screen. So at this point, they're not. I said, well, fine. Can I get a blanket now? They're like, no, we can't just give you a blanket until you're done with medical. I said, well, you just said that if I did all this, you have to give me a blanket. It's cold in here. I had to take toilet paper and pack it and fluff it up and put it under my shirt and my pants just so I could stay warm. So they knew I was cold. They saw me shivering, and they're just telling me, just comply, put this little mask on, and you'll be fine. I said, no. So the CO, he said, fine, we're going to go talk to the nurses. Nurses come back and say, no, we got to talk to the correctional officers. It's just a back and forth.
So I'm trying to find the sense in this too, because I mean, obviously when you're dealing with government agents, like, I get mad at my wife because she'll ask me, you know, I'll tell her something that happened, and she'll say, wait, that doesn't make any logical sense. And I'm like, and I tell her, Alicia, stop trying to make logical sense out of something that these people are doing. Like, there's not sense in it. And so, you know, maybe I shouldn't be asking this, but I'm curious what their logical sense is that says, well, until he complies and puts on the diaper, he can't have a blanket. He can't go to medical until he gets that, and therefore he can't have a blanket while we put him in a ice cold, air conditioned room. I mean,
well, their logic is based on evil, based on corruption. So they are used to coercion and manipulating your surroundings to get you to comply. We've seen it with ATF and Waco. They use different methods to torture you without even touching you, to put you through harsh environments to get you to comply. That's been used since King George.
Yeah.
This goes back way back since you know, back in the medieval times. This is old government tactics. So they tried it on.
Yeah, and this clearly there's clearly nothing else going on, because there's no logic in, okay, well, you know, medical is to make sure that you're physically okay and that you're not going to and clearly you're not physically okay because you're freezing. And so, you know, just trying to point out that, yes, you, like you just said, no, this is just pure evil. Sorry, go on.
So at this point, I said, well, fine, it's the mask you guys are worried about, right? I told them, well, from this point on, do not bring me any food. I'm not going to eat, and I'm not going to drink any water. I am now fasting. I'm fasting, so it's just me and the Lord here. I'm not going to eat. This is my protest. I don't want to wear your sock on your face. One guy says, well, I don't know any religion that says you don't have to wear a mask on your face. You know, I've never heard of anything like that. And I said, well, I can understand where you're coming from. You're a godless, heartless person, so you probably think that's silly. From your, you know, in your shoes, I can see that. But from my point of view, you're a grown-ass man with a diaper on your face because the government said you'd be safer with it. So for me, that's silly. So he didn't like that.
Well,
so,
wow. Yeah, that's wow, Josh. That's a hard-hitting, inconvenient truth that would trigger my feelings. I'll tell you that much.
Well, he didn't like that, so yeah, they're like, okay, well, that's your right. So yeah, I went on. I probably only ate 2 meals while I was there, because they eventually gave me what I wanted, but I'll get to that. And I ate 2 meals. So as we go through this, we're going through this back and forth. I started feeling my blood pressure, my head. I started getting a headache. I started getting dizzy. I couldn't get up and walk. I stopped urinating. I wasn't peeing anymore. So then I'm asking now, I need medical. Just have them come here and check my blood pressure. I think something is wrong. They're ignoring me, laughing at me. Oh, sure, Mr. Activist. Sure, freedom. One guy puts this stuff, freedom, mocking the entire time. So eventually, I want to say like 30 hours in at this point, a nurse finally comes through. She finally shows up. And she's like, we're here. We'll do your medical screening here. We'll go ahead and do it at the door. I'm fine with it. And I said, I've been asking for hours and hours and hours. Where have you been? She goes, well, nobody just told me anything until now. And I said, damn it. I said, this is so messed up. So she takes my blood pressure. Her eye just got real big. And the CO looked at it too. CO grabs 2 cups of Gatorade. And he says, drink this right now. And I said, what is wrong? And the nurse says, you have your heart rate, your blood pressure is at 160/80. And I said, wow. I said, that's pretty scary. You know, I knew something was wrong, but, you know, this could have been handled. You guys could have probably discovered this a long time ago, but, you know, you all ignored my calls. You guys ignored me. So as I'm, you know, as that passes on, They finally, I said, I still haven't had a phone call. Still haven't had a phone call. I still haven't had a blanket. I still haven't eaten. I'm not going to eat until I get what I want. So the CO says, all right, cool. I can get you a phone call, but can you do me a big favor? Can you wear a mask? I said, no, I will not wear a mask. He goes, okay. So they finally take me out, no mask. I walk through the hall. They take me to another cell that was empty that had a phone. I finally made my phone call. And as I came out, there was another CO there who had saw me earlier and who was kind of making jokes saying, well, we control we control this house. This is our house. It's not yours. I looked at him and I said, this is not my house or your house. God's in control of everything in the globe. And I'm still not wearing your freaking mask. So he didn't like that. He looked at me really mad, really pissed off, because they didn't take me serious. They thought I was just gonna end up complying. They thought they were gonna try everything they could in the book to get me to comply. I go back to my cell. I have my clothes. I have my sheet. I'm warm now at this point. Now all I got to do is wait for court. And they even brought the monitor to me, the monitor for court. They brought it to my cell. And I spoke through it there that they usually have it in another area, another cordoned off area where people go, they stand in line, they go to court. They brought this thing up to me, and I spoke to the judge and pled not guilty. They had a public defender who was trying to represent me. I said, no. I cut her off. I said, no, ma'am, no. I want to speak. I don't need you. I'm well-versed with law. I've represented myself in this court before. I want to represent myself. I just want one question. Do I get a jury trial? I already knew the answer is no. But she goes, no, you don't have a right to a jury trial. I said, no, it's a constitutionally protected right. I will enter my motions in writing then. But I want a trial by a jury of my peers.
Why do you not get a jury trial?
Here in Las Vegas and in Nevada, there's corrupt case law that allows the municipal political subdivision to do bench trials for petty charges like trespass.
Okay, because
so you don't. Yeah.
I just found out from Tuck Police Suck just the other day that the entire state of Arizona, you cannot get a jury trial on a misdemeanor, period. Right, on misdemeanors, correct. That's the way it is here, too. Dude, I'm shocked. I'm blown away. I mean, I guess we should have known this. I should have known this. It's been this way for decades. I mean, that's insanity. That's absolutely crazy to me. And, you know, how has this not been brought to a higher court ever? This has been going on for decades.
Because we allow it. People allow it. And I've cited in courts before. You've seen the video where I didn't apologize. I was trying to get to that. I was trying to challenge court jurisdiction. Article 6 of the Constitution says that all judges in every state shall be bound by the U.S. Constitution, and anything to the contrary is notwithstanding. So these ordinances are contrary to the Constitution, therefore they're notwithstanding. Article 3 says that all crimes, except in cases of impeachment, shall be by jury, period. It doesn't say, except for misdemeanors. No, if you're calling this misdemeanor a crime and you're putting me in a cage and depriving me of my free movement, you're going to give me a damn jury trial.
Right.
Period. But you know what? People comply because they rather go along to get along. They forget what happened in Europe when people went along to get along. Oh, they got the guns. They have the jail cells. Just don't piss them off. Let's just do what they say. People are going along with the flow. Before they know it, they're cold and naked on the boxcar, raising their hand saying, you know what, I disagree with this. Pow! You're dead. It doesn't matter. It's too late to complain. You complain at the beginning when you still have a chance. You complain when you're cold and in a jail cell and they're trying to tell you that you don't have rights to this. You complain then and there. And you keep going. You don't allow them to deprive you of anything. That's why we're in this. But see, every time I look around, I go to stores. I go to stores and I don't wear my mask. People freak out because, if you don't wear a mask, they're going to take my business license away. That's why I'm hiding against license. That's another form of control. It's just like a water faucet. They take our rights little by little. You just turning on that boiling water with the frog, and then you boil that frog, you raise it up gradually. Tyranny is a slow and gradual process. Tyrants don't get elected on Monday and start throwing people in the ovens in on Tuesday. No, it's a slow, gradual process. You know, it's one of those things we're all aware of. We all see it. We're all seeing the corruption. But, you know, nobody does anything because they're comfortable in their slave life. They're comfortable. But you know what? We're on the losing team, you and I, James. You and me, we're on this losing team. You and I can easily say, you know what? No, I'd rather go with the blue line and be a good slave for the puppets up in office. We can do that. But you know what?
And the health department. Really, we can go along with the health department as well. It'd be a lot easier.
Yeah. And we you and I chose the losing team. But you know what? It doesn't matter because just like I said earlier, the lie has entered the earth. The lie has even dominated the earth. But I can leave this earth, I can die knowing that it never entered through me. And I can die peacefully with that.
Yeah, man, when I started looking at libertarianism and people were telling me, well, James, why would you vote libertarian? You're going to lose. And I said, man, I would love to be on the losing team any day of the week and be right, than win and still be wrong. You know, just because the majority is doing it doesn't make it right. I'd rather be on the losing team, man.
Right.
And still have my soul.
Yeah. You're clean. You have a clean slate. Your soul is completely free. I mean, the two-party system is not a legitimate choice. I mean, that's like when Henry Ford, or I think it was Henry Ford who said, you can have a car any color you want as long as it's black.
Right.
That's basically what you're doing wrong. There's
Yeah.
not no legitimate choice. Republican, Democrat, it's the same guys. You think we would have been better off with Trump? No.
Right.
We're still heading down the same path we would have been going with Trump. We're still going down that same path, except with this guy in office, it's a different type of tyranny, but it's still in a control over property rights. They want to control our money. They want to control our right to keep and bear arms. Republicans wanted to control our body. They just don't want to control our money. You know, that's the only difference. And to me, it's one of these things that now people are waking up. You know, after I got out of jail, well, finally in my jail cell, I think my father had called Internal Affairs and told them that they were, you know, doing all this stuff to me, and they sent Internal Affairs to speak to me, and I told him about the condition of the jail cell when I got in there, and you know, he was taking down notes. I explained to him everything, and I told him, go look at your footage. You will see. I can guarantee you that this room was not sanitized when they brought me in here. And I said it was intentional. He calls me back. I'm here at home. He calls me up. He says, oh, well, you know, I went back to your cell, but you were already gone, so I thought I'd give you a call. I reviewed the camera footage, and yeah, you were right. It wasn't the room, the cell wasn't sanitized. And he goes, you know, but there's a possibility the correctional officers didn't know. I said, can you go back and look? No, check this out. I go, can you go back and look and see if there was other cells available? He goes, oh no, we can't go back that far. You know, it's this and that. I said, see, I said, you're telling me that I post something on Facebook and it lands on the desk of a Detective Kenneth Meade with the United States with Las Vegas Metropolitan Terrorist Unit. I said, I post that, and they find it. You guys can pinpoint where I make a phone call, who I make a phone call to, but you can't check a log. There's no communications log. There's nothing available. And there's other ones available.
Let me tell you, because I've got this audience listening now too, so I know what you're saying. But this is not a conspiracy theory when you're talking about them pinpointing every message you made, where you were located when you made it, every phone call you've ever made, every text message you've ever made, and pinpointing within 3 feet of the exact location where you were standing when you made it. Like, these things are actually in court records that these people were stalking you that heavily. This isn't a theory, right?
Right. No. It's actually, you know, one. I don't know if I've ever told you, but I've seen Kenneth Meade.
Right.
There's Lowe's at stores.
Right.
And how did he know I was there? Like, how did he know every location I'm at? I'm constantly moving around, how did he know? And he was already in there when I got there.
Right.
That's what surprised me. He didn't come in like behind me or anything like that.
And these things ended up coming out in court hearings that they were stalking you this heavily.
Well, yeah, well, not that particular incident. I never brought it up with courts because I know what he was trying to do. What he wants me to do is go in there and tell the courts, this guy's following me,
yeah,
this and that, he's doing this. And then he wanted me to make myself look like a psychopath.
Right,
That's
right,
why I didn't make much of a big deal about it until I had video footage of him actually showing up to court cases, showing up to my arrest. Once I gathered all that information, I sent it out to Jason Basler with Police to Police, and he released it.
Mm-hmm.
Just so people knew, because I started looking at some of my close friends' faces and I was telling them, Detective Kenneth Mead just showed up at this arrest. He was there at my court case, and they were like, dude, maybe, you need to go see someone.
Yeah.
I really think this officer's, and I started looking, I'm like, oh, this is what he wants.
Yeah.
He wants to isolate, demonize, and then destroy.
Yeah. And so you can't tell anybody that this is happening until you have tangible, factual evidence of it, like video documentation and records, his records, not yours, right? You can't tell anybody because you look like a crazy. You look nuts when you say that, man.
Yeah. Some of my close friends, some of our close activist friends, I could tell they didn't believe me when I was telling them this.
Uh-huh.
I could only say, honestly, the only one who's really believed me was Gavin Sines.
Right.
When I told people that the judge locked me up simply because I didn't apologize, nobody believed me. Gavin Sines did. He knew I was telling the truth. And finally, when I released that video footage, people were like, "Oh my God, she really threw you in jail for not apologizing."
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is insane. So, there's these things that people just need to see to believe.
Right.
Which is why you have so many atheists who attack us. Like, I have atheist friends, don't get me wrong. But when you have atheists like the ones that I was dealing with at the jail, they start mocking you. You don't have rights. They treat you like second-class citizens. They treat us like second-class citizens simply because you believe you're the intended creation of an almighty God. I'm not a perfect Christian. I'm not a perfect person, but I do know I'm the intended creation of an almighty God. I do know that. I have faith in that. I do know that. So, people, as human beings, have this weird thing that they, in order to actually believe something, they have to see it. And even then, when you show them, they want to cop-explain. They want to try to make a logical explanation out of it, like you said earlier.
Hey, let me... Josh, I know I don't want to interrupt you, but I don't want to lose this. And I know that you actually handle your own cases and do your homework and do everything. And so I want to tell you what Eric Brandt just said in the chat. Taylor versus Riojas, no qualified immunity for filthy cell conditions, cruel and unusual punishment. So it's
wow, I have to get that.
Taylor v. Riojas, R-I-O.
J-A-S?
Yes.
Okay. Taylor versus Riojas.
I know, Josh.
I'll have to reach out to him. You know what? I have to give him my number. I really would like to pick his brain. Like, I know some case law, but I know he's just like a freaking encyclopedia with court process. He's really intelligent. I really like him, and I would really just like to reach out to him. So, Eric, if you're still listening in, please reach out to me. I would love to just have a little conversation with you about this, if you don't mind.
So he's saying, yeah, I'll talk to him. I'm sure he's okay with me giving your number, but I don't give anybody's number out without permission. But yeah, I'll get you two connected actually as soon as this is over. He says Taylor versus Riojas was just decided per curiam. Am I saying that right? On November 2nd. The court ruled immediately and refused to even accept a response from the defendants. And that makes sense. That they're kidnapping you by force. Like you didn't go to the jail because you wanted to go to the jail, right? Like you were dragged there by force, weren't you?
Right.
And then so they drag you there by force and then put you in some disgusting conditions. And geez, the retaliatory reason for putting you in disgusting conditions is because you refused to put a diaper on your face, and they felt that, your health might be at risk because you don't have a diaper on your face, so they put you in a filthy cell.
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah. It's I when I spoke with the internal affairs officer, I told him straight up. I said, this is why there's such a distrust between the community and law enforcement. I said, because you can figure these things out, but you're making excuses. You said that you investigate police, wrongdoing and things like that. But how many officers have you had arrested? How many officers have you had fired?
Right.
Oh, well, I don't think it's appropriate to disclose that. And I said, I can go FOIA requested. I can go, but why don't you tell me? We were having a good conversation. I opened up to you as a human being to let you know what I'm truly about. I'm about transparency and accountability. What happened to me, not with Metro, what happened to me at that jail was totally wrong. They denied me medical attention when I requested it many times. They denied me a internal affairs grievance form several times, and I've requested it. I was going to put in complaints. The only reason why they didn't want to give me one was because I didn't want to tell them what the grievance was about. So they denied me. So that's also a violation of their own policy, and I know that.
And
what's going to be done.
Every time that somebody goes to jail, there's a chance you're going to die. And it's, I don't want to be overly dramatic or anything, but really, when they put you in that cell, you were actually having a health problem. Your blood sugar was totally out of control, and they made you wait over 30 hours for a nurse. And that reminds me of a couple of fairly recent cases. Tony Timba in Dallas, Texas, where he's overdosing on drugs. Look, the kid's made some dumb decisions. He's not the brightest kid, but the cops are there mocking him and laughing at him and poking at him while he's dying. And they're making jokes to him. He's laying there dead, and they're nudging him and going, "Wake up for school, Timmy! Wake up for school! It's mommy! Wake up!" It's a joke to him. He's dead. Recently in Tucson, Arizona, not even a year ago, while we were out cop watching on the other side of town, while we were being detained on one side of town, Tucson police were doing the same thing to a guy, laughing at him and mocking him while he was dying. Well, they were supposed to be calling medical for him. And a lot of that body cam footage wasn't released. Some of it was released to the public, but they cut out the parts of the body cam footage where the cops were just mocking the heck out of this guy. And I think it was News Now. One of the guys up in Phoenix just got that body cam footage and is working on videos to release it, because it's far worse than people even understand. It's not just, somebody died in police custody. A lot of these cases are horrible. They didn't just die. They were mocked and laughed at and ridiculed while they died. And so, I hear what happened with you here, how, they're mocking you, one of the jail guards yelling, freedom, while you're literally having a potentially deadly medical episode in your piss-covered cell. You could be the next one. You know what I mean?
Right.
And,
right.
I'm not trying to be overly dramatic, but gosh dang, people, this happens all the time.
Right.
If you weren't in their custody, when you noticed that something didn't feel right, you would have immediately done something to make yourself feel better, whether it was that you eat something or drink something or see a doctor, or had you had your freedom, you would have immediately addressed your own medical issue, right?
Right. And just like you said, none of us, none of us want to be there. None of us want to be sick. But if I was capable to just check my temperature, check my heart rate, I would have done something about it. But it just seems like the only people who are able to do something for me were the most evil people on this planet. And none of us want to be over dramatic as well, but we're not being over dramatic when we're speaking the truth. The story itself is dramatic, sad, and it's almost as if when you listen to this, it's hopelessness. Even though this happened to me, I would say that every time I go to jail, for me, the most horrifying thing is the yelling and screaming of other inmates who are begging for a little bit more food. And the reason for that is because the food is horrible, but they don't feed you. They don't give you enough. It's very, very little. It's small portions. People are actually begging, please, can you just give me half of a bread? Give me a piece of bread. One guy was telling them, look, I know I screwed up. I flushed the toilet. I flooded the toilets. Can you please turn my water on just for 2 seconds so I can get one drink of water? They kept telling them no. That is the most sick thing. To work in a facility like that, you have to be the most heartless person on this planet. You have to been raised by just evil people. Because I don't care. If I was a porter, if I was a trustee, or someone in that facility, I would have done something to sneak that person water. I don't care if I would have gotten an extra charge, or I would have been reprimanded in another way.
Yeah.
But that to me, when I hear people like that, I mean, when I was in county jail one time, my neighbor next to me was asking me, hey man, can you pass me your food? Because we're in solitary confinement. So he goes, can you ask the CO to give me your food if you don't need it? And I said, yeah, man. And I told the CO, hey, can you give my neighbor the food? I mean, I won't eat the tray. I'm good. I'm good on food. I have my commissary here. The gentleman next door to me, he doesn't have any food. He doesn't have any commissary. He doesn't have any family. The CO looked right at me, looked at him. He gets my tray, dumps it into the trash can, puts it on the table, the rolling table, and rolls away. And my God, how can any human being do that to another human being? That's insane.
Let me talk about the most frustrating part about this. So we're talking to Josh Martinez for everybody who's just tuning in. I was talking to him on the phone before I went live, and he's telling me his story, and I go, Josh, wait. Can you just stop right there? Let me go live, because I'd rather you tell your story of what just happened to an entire audience rather than just me, especially while it's fresh in his mind, everything that just happened to him. But he's fresh out of jail, Las Vegas City Jail, right, Josh?
Correct.
For trespassing on what, county public health property?
It's both. That office has county and state offices in them. It's a mixture, but it's state.
Okay, so you were inside. You didn't have your slave muzzle on your face, right? And so they told you to go outside, and so you went outside, and then they said, no, you can't be in the parking lot either without a slave muzzle. Is that right?
Right, but I was forcefully grabbed by Metro. They then dragged me. Well, not dragged me. I was walking on my own. I said, fine, I'll walk with you if you want to speak outside. They grabbed my arm and escorted me out, and then handcuffed me. And then we're out in the parking lot.
What really, really, really frustrates me and upsets me here is you've been in jail for 2 days, right?
Correct, yeah.
I didn't have a clue. I didn't know. I guess somebody, your dad just got a hold of Gavin Syme 5 or 6 hours ago, maybe 7 hours ago.
Yeah.
And he made a post on Facebook. But before that, I don't think anybody knew that you were in jail. Is that right?
Yeah, nobody was able to find me the first day. My dad was checking county because he thought they would have probably taken me to county. And I think if they would have ran my name, Kenneth Mead, little flag next to my name, they would have taken me to county and put me in the maximum security facility. But nobody was able to find me. So yeah, for about 1 day, they had me as John Doe, so nobody knew where I was. And yeah, it was just frustrating.
Who were you with when you got arrested?
Pitbull, Las Vegas Cop Watch.
Okay. All right, so in the future, you can at least let some of us know when you're going out, right?
Dude, I know. I need to do that. I need to at least know somebody has your number. Like, I thought my dad had your number. I thought, some of my family, and I did tell them, hey, I'm going. I told my dad and a couple other people where I was going, immediate family members, because, I just don't want too much people knowing. And I know you're busy, so I'm like, he's doing his thing, but I'll probably shoot you a text, even if you don't respond, just, hey, I'm at this spot, because, yeah, I think that happened last time as well when I had gotten locked up. Nobody knew that I was in jail for days because nobody did a call out.
Yep. And you've
when
got
Gavin
to
signed,
go ahead.
When Gavin signed did that call out, a lot of they started bringing me extra food. They started bringing me extra like extra sandwiches and stuff. And one guard was like, "But we're cool, right? Like me and you, like we're cool." And I'm like, "No, take that uniform off, get that badge off, then we're cool. But no, you're in that uniform. All of you guys did this, and I hate when cops do that. Well, I wasn't the one that arrested you. I wasn't the one that did it. Well, you know what? You're wearing this uniform. You're wearing the same stuff that those other gang members, what they did to me. You are all in this together. You are all responsible for this."
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people know, I've told a lot of people, I don't watch a lot of other activists who go out and get the crap beat out of them and get arrested. And the reason is because it's just too much for me. Honestly, I sincerely appreciate every single individual out there who's out there standing up and taking a stand. And so it's not that I don't watch and pay attention to all this stuff because I don't care. It's that, man, this will eat your soul away, seeing all of this happen all day, every day. But every time you go out with someone, you saw a direct difference, you said, in when people knew you were in jail and when people didn't. When you were a John Doe that nobody knew about, they treated you like crap. And the moment Gavin posted something, you got a lot of people out there, Josh, you do, who if they know that you've been kidnapped, the second you've been kidnapped, we'll be doing something about it. So yeah, whoever you go out with, I don't like my number being out there, but I can change it anytime I want. Just give them my cell phone number and say, look, James has a big enough audience. If I get picked up, just send it to him. And at the very least, I can make a community post. It takes like 10 seconds to do that, to make a community post and say, Josh Martinez got arrested. And the truth is, for those of us who are out there doing this too, like we really can't do that for every single individual person. But we can at least have small networks of, 3-4 guys who, hey man, if I ever get arrested, you share it. If you ever get arrested, I share it. So, it doesn't have to be that the whole world shares that Josh got arrested. But I mean, there should be at least, a couple of us that our job is to have your back. And that's it. And then, everybody else, they've got a couple of people who have their back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. You're right.
Because I'm gonna kick you in the whatever the next time I find out you got arrested 2 days after you get arrested.
I know, and I wish there's people close to me that like wouldn't be afraid to reach out to you. Like I told you before, my kid's mom, like maybe I should give you James' number. He was like, that's James Freeman. I was like, look, I know you're starstruck and stuff, but trust me, he's a cool guy. He's one of us.
It's important, man.
That's James Freeman. Yeah, I know, and he's the only one. Because as I'm laying there, and they're treating me like crap, I'm thinking the only reason why they're treating me like this is because they have no idea who I am, and they have no idea what I do, and they don't know how tight our community is. All those people who watch and all those people who support us and encourage us. Who, I know sometimes it kind of seems like for some people, like, why do you keep doing this? That's the question I keep getting asked. Why do you keep doing this? You're losing. You're never going to change it. But just like I said before, because I have a much better conscience. I have a much better clean way of thinking. I'm guiltless, knowing that I'm on the losing team. Because on the winning team, it's easier. Yeah, if I wanted easy, I'll just go with the flow. Comply. Go to the DMV, get my driver's license, do everything I'm supposed to do like a good boy.
You can't go to the DMV anymore, Josh. Anyways, and that's this is the irony of everybody that's been complying for so long. Don't get me wrong. I think we're all guilty in one way or another. But the irony is it's getting to a point where we can't even comply when we want to, with all these government offices being shut down. We've got people cruising around without licenses all over the country, without registration, without licenses, because the government won't even let them in. So
yeah, right, exactly. And I actually did an audit here a couple days ago at the DMV here. They're not allowing people in without an appointment. And get this, I was speaking to people who did get an appointment, but it isn't until February of 2021.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're still getting tickets though. The police are still issuing tickets.
Yeah.
They're not backing off then.
Right.
So it's like, see, this is what happened. People keep telling me, well, driving is it's a privilege. I'm not going to get into politics of that, but it kind of goes to show you it's all about control. And even when it's out of control, they're still going to try to tax you on it. It doesn't matter. You're allowing government to tell you what to say, to jump, to roll over, to play dead, to they did this during the Bush administration. Remember the color? Oh, we're at yellow today. Oh, we're at red. Oh,
right.
We're at green.
Right. The terrorism color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they have us controlled, and see.
And then a decade later, those who didn't realize it right then and there, a decade later, we realized, well, there was never actually a terrorist threat other than the threat of our own government attacking us or, in the streets in the form of police. There was never a terrorist threat. But yes, this meter continually moved up and down from green, yellow, red, orange, whatever. And we're seeing the same thing happen again right now with public health, where they constantly move this bar up and down for no means other than fear and control.
But what's funny is that even in those days when they had the terrorist colors, oh, we're green, we're talking about this today. I'm literally talking about this topic, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks ago with a friend, and we're in the car parking lot. We're about to get out to the store to go into the store, and he's looking at me and he goes, isn't that crazy they used to do that stuff? They treated us like a bunch of slaves. Oh, wait, where's my mask?
And it's, man, and that's what really frustrates me, man. We're talking about people who, they're not idiots, right? They're not stupid. But why is it that they never realize what's going on in the moment when it's going on? And then it's always a decade later or so, or 20 years later, when the classified information is declassified and they finally pull their head out of their rear and read it, and they go, oh, yeah, they were just playing us. But you think that this time it's real? You think that this time it's, they've got a real reason to lock you down? And anyways.
No, you're absolutely right, man. It's like when you look back at history, you ever look at like photos from like the 1800s, and like I look at Native American photos, people, like some of these Native American, I forgot what community it was, but there was a church there that was converting them forcibly to converting them to Christianity, and there was atrocities going on at that time. And I look at these photos and the blank look of everybody in there, not realizing that there's tyranny going on around them. And we keep repeating it. I keep looking at photos over time, and I'm looking at the complete, just oblivious to reality in their surroundings, to the tyranny. And it's just a repetitive thing. And I guess that saying is true. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And I love pictures. I love photography. So I love looking back at these old pictures, like back in the 1950s, 1930s, when they started going after marijuana. They started trying to
that's
the drug prohibition.
Right, that's the marijuana. That's the stuff that makes black people rape white women, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny because the town where I'm from, I was born in El Paso, Texas, and that was the first city to outlaw marijuana. It was the 1913, the El Paso Act of 1913, which prohibited marijuana. Now, the reason for that was because there was 5 white people who were walking down the street who claimed to be attacked by a Mexican farm worker who was high on this and who had superhuman strength, superhuman powers. So that's why all these people got scared and demanded their local government to prohibit it. And I look back at those days and I look at everything and I'm like, man, they did not see this coming. And they were the only ones who could have done something about it. They were the ones who could have prevented it, and they could have saved us a lot of petty. They could have done something, but because our great-grandparents, because our grandparents, and their generation didn't do anything, we're stuck with it. We're the ones finally getting up and saying, you know what? They didn't do nothing. We're going to get up and try to do something. Even if it doesn't work, I may not change the world, but damn it, I know I'm going to inspire somebody who might have a better chance.
Geez, I hope so. You know, Gavin, I've been talking recently as I've been trying to revisit myself and go back to my roots and ask myself, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you start doing what you're doing? And because I've lost my way over time. I'm gonna be honest. I've gotten really pissed off. Dude, I totally lost my train of thought there and what I was gonna say. How ADD. But anyways, it's I don't see how people can look at. Is it not the same people telling us that wearing a muzzle is going to save the world? Wasn't it the same people telling us that pot is going to kill everybody and that it makes brown people rape white people and stuff like that? Isn't it the same people that are saying that?
Yeah. It's the same one. I mean, I tell people this all the time. You're going to listen to the same government that's been lying to us for 72 years about marijuana, but yet Oxycontin and all these other big pharma companies have been caught red-handed by our government hiding data that would suggest their product was dangerous for people.
Right.
And all they got was a slap on the wrist. I think the makers of Oxycontin got like a $4 billion fine, which was probably in their pant pocket at the time they paid it. You see the repetitiveness. You see it. And there's this young girl in North Dakota, Spotted Crow, who was arrested for possession of $30 worth of marijuana. She got sentenced to 13 years in prison. So it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, they're really, telling us what we can put in our bodies, and the stuff that they're telling us that is okay to put in our bodies is actually dangerous for us, and the government is okay with them actually hiding the facts that would suggest that. Mm-hmm. And then this young girl gets arrested. She's a mother of three. She gets arrested. She gets sentenced to 13. What is that? 13 years in prison. What does that tell you? That there is a higher, an elite. And we're not part of that. We're not part of that at all. But yet you have people here, I get into arguments when people find out I haven't been driving with a driver's license, I think, for the past 5-6 years.
Traveling, right?
Not because I can't get one. Yeah, I'm traveling. And that's why I'm like, I get into the semantics of it, and people are like, well, you sound kind of nuts. It's like, well, check it this way.
Yeah.
You have the right to come and tell me I better ask permission to drive my vehicle. If you don't have the moral right to force me to do something against my will, you don't have the moral right to send armed thugs to do it for you.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the plain and simple way to put it. Don't hurt me, don't steal from me, and I won't shoot. Those are the things I go by. And love me, I'll love you right back. I have no problem with nobody. But the thing that makes, I love the Constitution. I know it doesn't grant me rights. I see it more as a manual to how to operate our government, how to operate when we end up going to court. It's more of an operations manual, owner's manual. And it's for us to operate our machine that we created.
But let's be totally honest too. So it's kind of a rule book and an operation manual, but do the operators obey it or abide by it in any way whatsoever?
Nobody's reading it. Abraham Lincoln said that the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but the people who pervert it. How do you know the Constitution's been perverted if you haven't read it? And in order to know, you gotta read it. I mean, it's only a 22-page book. I've read it, sitting on the toilet for, just like that. I scanned through it. Cool.
That's ironic that you read it while sitting on the toilet. Did you use it for anything after you were done? I don't mean to be offensive, but I don't mean to be offensive because, man, I used to love that document too. But then I realized what it's actually done for liberty. And I know this is really uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it's done absolutely nothing. Because, just because...
Even our founding fathers said that.
Right.
Our founding fathers even said it means nothing unless you do something. The only power
right.
the Constitution has is as much as you give it. Now, to me, it just clarifies, like, our founding fathers, when you read it, government shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Now, the most important word in that sentence is the, because it shows that our founding fathers knew that the right existed long before the government was established. They were just saying, hey, let's write this down in case the idiots, our idiot descendants, don't know what true rights are. Because they knew about St. Thomas More, who was beheaded because he didn't want to say that the King of England was the head of the church. He said, no, Jesus is the head of the church. They knew about this shit. And they were like, you know what? Let's write this stuff down so that people after us will know.
Right.
But little did they know,
but
Steve Eagle's going to come along.
But that writing didn't actually prevent anybody from making a law abridging the right to free speech.
Right.
And so,
right. It didn't.
So yeah, I think it's got some good ideas in it, but they're just ideas and concepts and theories. But man, when you put it into actual play in real life, gosh, it didn't do anything.
But you know, honestly, when I go to court, like that time when I was challenging jurisdiction, and the times I've stood up for it, even though I know the Constitution didn't grow legs, it didn't pop out of my shirt pocket and start boxing with the judge or boxing with the cops.
Right.
You know, it didn't do that. But I knew that's not its purpose. It already served its purpose. It's already engraved in my head. And now when these tyrants talk to me, I throw it back at them, knowing it's going to piss them off. The Constitution is to tyrants as garlic is to vampires. They just like, they hate hearing it. They're just like, they don't like it. You don't have freedom. You don't have rights. And it goes to show, they're not even pretending that it doesn't exist anymore. They're not even pretending. And that's why all these bootlickers and all these pro-Trump people and these we're pro-military. I come from a military family, and I understand where these people are coming from. But even my father, 10-year Air Force veteran, my brother, 4-year Navy veteran, they all agree. What we thought we were fighting for has turned out to be totally BS.
Yeah.
And you know what? If anything, my oath is to the people, not to my government.
Yeah.
So you know what? We have to start standing up for each other and restore this principle, this idea. Because yes, that's basically what it is. It's an idea. Mm-hmm. It's not going to fight for you. I mean, even our founding fathers said, what nation can keep its liberties if its rulers aren't reminded from time to time that the people preserve the spirit of resistance? It's up to us. We got to show them the Constitution. Like I said, it's not going to grow arms and legs and start boxing with people and say, don't mess with him. He's an American. He's an American tyrant. No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. You got to get up. And let me tell you something. Every time I've done it, even though I lost, it felt so damn good. It felt so good to see their faces.
But the point is that you lost, and I've lost every time too. Like I've had charges dismissed every time, but we've never actually won. And they don't care what the paper says. We're dealing with sovereign citizens, right? We're dealing with people who don't believe that they're accountable to laws. They don't believe they're accountable, and they're not accountable. And so, no matter what the Constitution says, or no matter what the legislation says, whether it's your state codes and statutes or your city ordinances, they don't matter. Those are for you and me, right? Those are for the slaves to obey. I was recently reading the slave code from Louisiana. Just yesterday I was reading it, actually. And guys, I highly recommend you go and look that up. Just Google Louisiana slave code. Oh God, what year was it? 1792? Anyways, some interesting...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Jared Green talks about it a lot, but yeah.
Right. And there's some interesting things in there that you can read and realize, whoa, wait a second. Abraham Lincoln didn't free any slaves. He just put the rest of us onto the plantation. Like, all of these slave rules, these are our rules now, right? This is our government's rules for us now.
Right.
So, very interesting read, guys.
Yeah, I gotta check that out too. But I know Jared Green talks about that a lot, and yeah, you're right. They when they created citizens, U.S. citizens, it's like, wait a minute, now it sounds like we're property of the United States. Well, what happened to we the people? What happened to, I have the right to keep and bear arms? You're telling me now I can't own something that I, purchased with my hard-earned money?
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me that, no, I don't have a right to have something. Then if it's not a right, then it's a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, that's what gets me, all these Second Amendment activists out here who are so gung-ho, Trump and law enforcement, parading around with their guns and showing their permits.
Right, their guns and their permits. Their permits.
And I asked them, I was like, why do you have a permit? Well, it's the law. Well, isn't it your right? And they're like, well, in a way. I said, well, no. It can't be a privilege and a right. Those two are opposite. You're calling a circle a square.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a right and a privilege as the same. I was like, a right is having the sovereign authority to do something because there's no one of higher authority to get permission from.
Mm-hmm.
A privilege is temporary authority granted by someone of higher authority.
Yeah.
I give you permission to walk across my land. I can revoke that permission anytime I want. I have the property right. I own it. If there's ever a question over property, of who has rights to what property, identify the owner. Now, again, I ask you, you own that piece of firearm. Why are you going to your local government to ask them permission to carry it if it's in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment?
And that's...
Well, I support the blue line, and I'm not going to make their job harder. They're just trying to do their job. Holy crap, dude.
And that's one of the parts in the slave code. So a lot of people, guys, let me know in the chat. We've got like 600 people in here. We peaked at 800. We're losing a few people on this topic, but let me know in the chat if you guys knew, because I didn't know previously. There was actually no law that slaves couldn't have firearms. Did you guys know that? Slaves could keep and bear arms with written permission from their master. So, there was nothing saying that slaves couldn't keep and bear arms. You had to have a written documentation. If a slave was carrying a firearm, he also must be carrying the written documentation from his master saying that he can carry that firearm. Okay? It's the same thing with what, I know people don't like to hear about this right to travel stuff. And the truth is, if you try it, you're going to get violently attacked by the thugs. But just look at the slave code. And somebody said in here, Unsub Press, I think, said it was 1724. The right to travel outside of the plantation. Slaves did have a right to travel. They only had a right to travel on horseback outside of the plantation with a permit. Typically, slaves couldn't travel on horseback, and especially not outside of the plantation. But they could be given a permit, written permission by their master, and be allowed to travel on horseback outside of the plantation freely on public roadways. Okay, so I know you guys don't like to hear the right to travel stuff. I know it's and you try it, I guarantee you're going to get beat up and go to jail. But at least understand where these things came from and why we have these permits and what their intent is. It's saying, no, you don't actually have a right to do any of this stuff. So yeah, people have told me, oh, well, the driver's license is new because because with automobiles, all of these rules had to be made. No, the permission to travel isn't new. A permit to travel around isn't new. It didn't come around with automobiles. It was implemented. It's been implemented with slaves forever, long before automobiles existed. But it's only for slaves. So.
Yeah, and you're right. If you try it, and I tell everyone this all the time, because they're like, well, Josh, you got to give me the paperwork and help me out with this. I'm like, dude, it's not easy. You can't just go file something and voila. Oh, you're good. He found the golden ticket. Let him through.
And
he's good.
Right.
No. If you want to bust the system, be ready for a bumpy ride. Because let me tell you, we're going up against the government. There's no magic paper you can sign and claim your right as a free person.
Right.
Even though I do it no matter what. I do it knowing I'm going to lose. But damn it, I'm free. I know I'm going to lose. Like I said, I already know I'm going to lose. But I'm not going to comply.
Right.
I'm not going to do it anymore because I'm done with it. I've made mistakes by complying. fine by negotiating with them. I've done it before. I'm done with it. And people, they ask me that all the time. They ask me, oh, just give me the paperwork. When I got both of my driver's license cases dismissed, I was surprised.
Yeah.
I thought they were just going to let me through the ringer and throw me in jail.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to go through the motions and everything, but I kicked and screamed, and I said, I got annoying. I got to be a pain in their butt. They got tired of seeing my face, so they're like, you know what? We don't have time for this guy. We got 60, 70 other people right now in this audience who are willing to pay $3,000 a head. Let's just go after them. Let this guy go. Put it behind.
Right.
And it's not going to be like that for everyone. It's not. You know what? I got lucky. I got lucky those times.
And you didn't win on the merits, right? You didn't win on the merits of walking in and saying, oh, no, you have no jurisdiction over me and I have a right to travel. You didn't win on those merits. You won on being annoying and they got tired of you.
I never tell anyone that they agreed with it. I've said that on my videos plenty of times. They did not agree with the merits. They find little discrepancies and little things to just say, oh, you know what? The cop didn't show up. We're going to go ahead and just talk to him.
Right.
They find little stupid things because I was a pain in their butt. I was showing up to the courthouses. I was making noise. They were like, let's just get this dude out of here. He's really being annoying. But I'll tell you something. I know other people have done the same thing, and it wasn't easy for them. I never promised. And I think that's what hurts people who are wanting to educate themselves. I think it hurts the entire movement as a whole because they're like, well, wait, I thought if I did this, you know who I'm talking about. There's other characters around. I'm not going to say their name, but they promise you all this, right to travel stuff.
Yep.
Oh, just put this on your card. They just leave you alone. That's not true.
Right.
It will get hassle, but you know what? Like I said, I love it. I love arguing with the judge. I love arguing with the police. I love standing up for my rights. I know where I'm going. I know it. But you know what? The truth has become so good to me. Telling the truth has become so great to me that anything they do to me anything they do to persecute me brings me great pleasure. I love it. Come on, throw me in this cell. You ain't gonna get me to comply. You're not gonna get me to vote. Come on, give me more.
Yeah.
Let's crank up the AC even higher. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna comply.
I think that's people's biggest mistake too, is they start, they hear these things, they're like, oh, I have a right to travel. Well, your government's not going to recognize that right. And so, sure, you should be able to do whatever you want to do so long as you're not harming others. But people mistakenly believe that this is some type of silver bullet to never be bothered by your government again. Not only is it not a silver bullet to you were saying, there are certain individuals who will sell you plates, these plates that say private individual or something, and they'll tell you, oh, these plates are cop deterrent. No cop will ever mess with you when you put this plate on the back of your car that says private individual. That's a blatant, outright lie. When you put that plate on your car, you are going to draw the attention of every badge around you. Every single person. I mean, people are even going to call in on you and be like, dude, hey, they're going to snitch on you. No, that's not a cop deterrent. That's a cop attractant. And no, when he pulls you over and you say, well, sir, I've got a right to travel. He's not going to say, oh, well, gosh, darn, I'm so sorry about that. Goodbye, sir. Have a great day. No, he's going to smash out your window. He's going to drag you out of the car, beat the crap out of you, put you in his car, steal your car, and put you in a cage. Okay, so that's the reality. And charge you with assault. Exactly. Right. So, I think we need to be more honest with people and say, you're supposed to be able to have a right to travel based on this, this, and this. But this is what it's based on. You don't have a right to go around harming other people. You don't have a right to go around smashing into other people's stuff with your car and saying, right to travel. They need to understand what that right means, where it comes from, and also understand that their master doesn't respect that right. So if they try to exercise it, they're going to get hurt and robbed.
Right. Yeah. And freedom isn't free, man. Freedom isn't free. You're not going to just walk with it and just put it on your cart and you're just going to walk away.
Right.
You got to be brave. You got to be brave to be free. You got to be brave to be free. Sometimes and that's why when people talk to me about this, I actually have another friend who's gotten into it, but I was straight up with him before. I told him, if you do this, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. I've been pulled over. Cops have tried to get the face on the eye. I just tell the cop, give me the damn citation so I can take this to court and fight it. I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
Give me the ticket and I'll leave.
Yeah.
And that happens, but then when they want to pick my brain a little bit and I argue with them, we kind of go into a debate. And I'm respectful about it. And a lot of times we have a good conversation. And they always bring up the airplane thing. Oh, would you be allowed to ride a, 757, a jet? I was like, oh, that takes more than one operator. You need about 5-6 people to drive one. So I can't operate it alone. But second, that makes no sense because I would die before I get off the ground because I don't know how to fly one. So why don't people just fly planes? Well, if they don't know how, they know they're going to die. So death is preventing them from doing that. They
Right.
understand that death is permanent and irreversible. Some idiots don't. Some idiots will jump into a plane and do it. But you know what? The rest of us are like, that dude's an idiot. He didn't know how to fly a plane. But
Are you familiar with
having a license prevent him?
Are you familiar with the Barefoot Bandit, Josh?
No.
Oh, dude, I think he was a kid. I think he was under 18. I'll have to Google it, and I don't have enough devices on me. Yeah, he went on a crime spree through multiple different states. He was like under 18 years old. I think he was 16 or 17, maybe. Went on a
Oh, you're talking about that 12-year-old.
Was he 12? And one of the things he did is he stole an airplane and he flew it halfway across the country. He had never flown an airplane in his life.
Dude, yeah.
So
Yeah, I heard of that story. No, he wasn't a 12-year-old. Yeah, I think he was like a 17-year-old kid. He was young.
yeah,
Yeah, and he had no experience, but he did it. He did it even though he risked death, right? Like, he risked, the possibility of him dying was pretty up there. Him not having the knowledge of it. But that's pretty ballsy of him to do. But like I was saying, I have a buddy who's now doing it, who's now doing the right to travel. And I told him, look, if you're going to do this, if you want easy, just go to the DMV and just go with the flow, dude. That's too much easy. You don't want the headache. Just go. I won't hold anything against you. I'm not going to call you, any names. I'm like, if you want to do it. But he said, no, I want to do this. I want to finally take back my rights. Hey, cool. Dude,
Yeah.
But I never promised him anything.
yeah,
I never promised him this magical place. Go and file your name as your own sovereign individual. Get rid of your birth certificate. I never promised him all that. I just told him, look, this is what's going to happen, and what we need to do is have more people protesting and advocating for one thing, because a lot of right to travel activists that I talk to, that I respect, are aware that it's not going to be, but we still do it because we still believe. I mean, come on, if marijuana can become legal after 72 years, this act of getting behind the wheel of my car and traveling up the street with it shouldn't be treated as a crime. We need to start reevaluating our justice system. All these municipal courts. We need to start reevaluating the DMV. We really need to call it what it is. It's just forced revenue onto the people. We need to stop BSing ourselves. And that's the true right to travel activists that I love talking to. There's others out there that are just trying to make money off of it. The other guys are more like how you and I are with First Amendment, activity and recording in public and accountability and transparency. It's that same thing. We're trying to protest and show our government that we preserve the spirit of resistance, not with violence, but with peaceful protest, with peaceful resistance. And that's how you make change. Even though, hell, you never know. Look at here in Las Vegas. Now they have a no-tow policy and a no-jail policy. So now, thanks to some of the right to travel activists here in Nevada, they got some of the laws changed where now they don't even tow your car. They just give you a ticket and let you drive away.
Okay.
They make the courts deal with it.
okay,
So before they used to tow your car, take you to jail, and you went in like a criminal. But they've changed that because people like myself, who are right to travel activists, were filing subpoenas and petitions and doing everything the right way, and it was wasting a lot of resources, is what the police said. They're like, so now we're doing no more of that because our legal department is tied up with all these paperwork. We're now starting to just issue tickets, no tow policy, no arrest policy. Let the courts handle it. Let the courts and DMV handle it. We're out of it. We're done.
good.
And that's what every right to travel activist goal should be, for change, not promising you lies.
Right.
It should be, if you want to join in with us, we'll accept you. Come on in, we'll support you. get locked up or if you get into a jam, we'll be there for you at court. We'll provide everything we can for you, and we'll be all in this together.
But there's no guarantee still, and that's what some people just couldn't realize is, these guys who have made this change. It's not like they just threw a fake plate, as they would call it, on their car one day and then magically their rights are restored. That's not what happened. These people went through a lot of pain and suffering and loss to get one tiny little thing changed, and it's not as if their right is even respected still. It's just, all right, well, we've quit putting you in a cage and stealing your stuff for it. We're still going to summon you to court, but and really this is with any
step in the right direction.
Right. And this is with any rights that you're trying to defend or fight for to get back. It's not like, oh, hey, you have a right to go and record police in public. So therefore, if you go do it, the police will never attack you. Don't worry. This magical right will prevent any harm from ever coming to you. No.
Yeah.
You're going to go record a cop and get the crap kicked out of you, okay?
Yeah, and you got to watch out because some of those dudes that be doing that, man, they have their own license plates on their own cars themselves while they're trying to sell you theirs to, make a quick buck. So you got to watch out. You got to really test who you're talking to, really test them and what they're about. Because you got to watch out. There's a lot of people out there who are trying to make a quick buck and they're not honest. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their heart. James, when we started talking, you told me, like, I know you're real, Josh, because you're not trying to do it for money. You're not trying to do it for none of this stuff. You saw how I was going to this place without a camera. And you're the one who told me, hey, start getting a camera and record your encounters. I was like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I should. That's a good idea.
Right.
And I don't know why I never thought of it. It actually it's a good thing because I like what you said, and a lot of people said that, in the beginning that, you could tell who the true ones are when they first get into it and you see what their mission is about. Like, that's why I like you, because when I first saw that video, the first video I saw of you, I forgot how I came across it, and the cops came out and were like, well, can we help you? Yeah, here. Trying to give him like $2. So what is that for? Can you go to the store and get me a Dr. Pepper? I was on the floor laughing. I could not stand up, dude. I was on the floor laughing my ass off because it's like that was just awesome. That was genuine. That was authentic. That was all James Freeman.
Sometimes I have too much fun with it, man.
Dude, I called you up. I forgot how I got a hold. I was like, I think I've seen him on Facebook. So I messaged you and we started talking. I'm telling you about my story, and you're like, wait. I already know who you are.
Yeah. So
I already seen you around. I was like, oh, dude, that's so awesome. But see, when you were doing things like that, I knew you were true to your word. I could tell that you were truly in it for the right reason, especially when you told me that when you saw how Gavin Stein left, that sparked you to get up and do something. And I told Kelly that. I was like, James really has a good story of why he got involved. And, when he said when he saw Gavin Stein leave, he just picked up his camera and decided to get up and do something. So you know what? For all that Gavin did, everything he did, look, he inspired you to get up and go out and do something.
Yep.
Each one of us has that person. And look at you now. You inspired me. And in a way, you said I inspired you, and it was cool because it was like this thing like, holy crap, somebody I like to actually likes me. He thinks I'm cool. He thinks I'm inspiring. Hell yeah. That added more fuel to my fire. So that's why I kept going, man. And that's what we have to do. We're inspiring people around us. That's what this is about.
For the audience, we're talking to Joshua Martinez, and the story he's telling is kind of funny because I'm sure you heard him say, but he's been doing he's been bucking the system and standing up against the man and standing up against the bullies for a really, really long time. But he would never go around with a camera doing it. He's just doing it because it's the right thing to do. He's been doing it, probably at least 7 years, maybe a decade. I don't know. He's been doing it way longer than I have. But other people had recorded Josh and put his stuff up on their YouTube channels. And so I had seen him out in front of the federal courthouse in Nevada. And I had seen him in court telling a judge that she was in contempt of court. But he had never made a channel or anything. He had never put his own content up. And so I guess he had been watching and so he had inspired me long before I ever picked up and started doing anything with or without a camera too. Um, and so then when I started doing a YouTube channel, he saw it and he reached out to me. And he's trying to explain to me who he is, and trying to, maybe gain my trust. And hey, man, I'm the real deal. I'm not just, pulling your chain. Like I like what you do, and I believe in liberty, and almost like talking to me as if I had no clue who he was, and he needed to explain himself to me. And I'm like, dude, you're Josh Martinez. You're the guy who told the judge that she's in contempt of court. I know who you are, Josh. No explanation necessary, brother. Thank you for what you do. But yeah, I told him, dude, go ahead.
No, I tell people, like, I was talking to a buddy, and he's like, did you realize you were on YouTube long before you had your channel?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, damn, you're right. I was. People were actually taking my live streams from Facebook and uploading them onto YouTube. People were seeing me get arrested, and recording it, putting it on YouTube. And I was like, I was on it. I was like, well, I think, yeah. And people, I went on those videos and saw people like, where's his YouTube channel? We want to see his YouTube channel. We want to know more. And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe I should do this. And when I reached out to you, you walked me through it. You taught me how to do it, how to make it, and you gave me good advice and how to get it going. And I was like, yeah, now it's I at the time I hated social media. I was like, oh, dude, it's so stupid. I was like, what am I doing on social media?
It still is stupid.
In a way, it is, but now for me it's a bullhorn.
Yeah.
Like before I used to post stupid stuff. Like I used to work in the nightclubs. I used to post pictures of drunk chicks walking barefoot with their high heels, falling all over the place. And to me, I'm like, man, what the hell was I doing? I was just wasting time. Why not post something educational that exposes the man, that exposes my neighbors for the true slaves they really are? That's the stuff I want to use it for now. Not my dog dragging his butt on the carpet floor. Like, look at Buddy. Look what he's doing today. Like, that stuff is boring. Like, now I'm like, oh, yeah, got to take advantage of it. So, yeah.
We got Gavin Simon in the chat now, too, but I do need to wrap it up.
All right, brother.
Gavin, thanks for being here. Yeah, we've got Josh on the phone. He was arrested. Every time Josh gets arrested, he manages to make it a secret, and nobody knows he's in jail, and he sits there being tortured for a couple of days. So anyways, we're going to try and make sure that doesn't happen in the future. But I'll put a link to his channel pinned in the comments here. Go check out his channel. You did get all of your camera equipment and stuff back, right?
Yeah, I have it all.
Okay.
I'm actually going to work on editing right now.
Okay, so the video of his arrest will be coming on his channel. Again, I'll put a link to it. And Josh, stop getting arrested in secret, okay? We'll have your back when you're in that cage. We got to know you're in the cage, though.
All right, will do, man. I gotta let y'all know what's up.
All right, brother. We thank you so much for what you're doing, man. Genuinely.
Yeah, thank you, and Gavin, if you're still on here, thank you too, brother. Love you all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.